This is passage 5 of ACT Science. It's a data passage. Data in our DRC approach is don't read. You can go straight to the questions generally. You might want to skim the charts and graphs to orient yourself a bit. So in this one, we have an experiment performed with 7 metals. Looks like we have a light source passing through a flame to a detector. We have steps in experiments. Most likely you're going to have a question come from the steps in somewhere in a table with varieties and different concentrations of metals. R&R approach, read and reread the question, breaking it down step by step. Number 27, suppose if Y question. A scientist predicted that variety X mushrooms would have a greater concentration of, I think that's manganese, Mn2+, doesn't matter, so that's 30.5, than variety Y mushrooms. Variety Y mushrooms are 43.5. This one is mostly a reading question now. If we look at our answer choices, we have the manganese concentration described in variety X, 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 X. We have the different choices. So the only one that's correct is choice A. It has the correct concentration of manganese. So your answer has to be A, and it is lower than Y, right? So that you could have narrowed it 50-50 anyway. It's a pretty interesting, easy question just by reading the chart. 28. Based on the results of the experiment, which mushroom variety more likely had a higher measured absorbance for zinc? So we're looking at zinc, variety W or variety Y. Now this one's kind of interesting. It doesn't say absorbance, it has concentration. But we see in the reading, this is kind of a tricky question, that absorbance is directly proportional to concentration. So in other words, absorbance tracks with concentration, it equals concentration. So we're looking at for zinc, and we're looking at variety W and variety Y, and the highest one is variety W, and absorbance equals concentration, so variety W has a higher concentration, which corresponds to a higher absorbance, choice F. 29. Suppose in table 1 that 0.25 grams of variety W mushrooms were combined with 0.25 grams of variety X mushrooms. What would be the concentration of copper? And it would be between 37 and 49, so B. 30. Was the pH of the liquid added to the mushrooms in step 2 more likely less than 7 or greater than 7? So we see in step 2, nitric acid was added, so a bit of knowledge. pH less than 7 is acidic, pH greater than 7 is basic, so it was an acid because it was less than 7 because it was an acid, so your answer is choice F. 31, based on the description, how many different wavelengths of light pass through the flame? So the description, it says for each type of metal, a beam of light having a particular wavelength is passed through the flame. So each type of metal. So how many metals were there? 7. It tells you in the reading, or you can count in the table. So the answer is C. Number 32, based on the description of the AAS, the detector directly measured what? So we have this light source that's passing through a flame to the detector. So what is it measuring? It's measuring the light source. And it's any light that is not absorbed is what it's checking, but it's measuring the light that passed through the flame. So choice J. Number 33, consider the cadmium ion shown in table 1. When the ion is formed from a neutral cadmium atom, so it goes from an atom to an ion, does the number of protons increase or stay the same? So let's start with that one first. So a bit of knowledge here. Ions are created due to the gain or loss of electrons. So protons are not impacted, so the protons stay the same. Now, does the number of electrons increase or decrease? Again, knowledge, atoms that lose electrons have a positive charge because when you decrease the number of electrons, you have more protons than you did. If you increase the number of electrons, you have fewer protons than you did. So if we look at cadmium, it has a positive charge, so the electrons decreased. So this is a knowledge question. So the answer is D. Double check all of your answers. Look at the reporting categories, one of each one in this one. A lot of scientific investigation. See if there's a reporting category that throws you off, and so you're aware of that. Reach out if you have any questions. We'll end up with our silly joke. Two atoms are walking along, and one of them says, "Oh man, I think I lost an electron." And the other one says, "Are you sure?" He says, "Yes, I'm positive." Have a good day.